right, Abby, you want to try something new this morning. Let's go.
Yeah, so while we were having our break over the holidays, I was recovering from a small procedure at my doctor, so I had a lot of time to binge stuff. And I'm really not a TV watcher, so I was watching Outlander, I was rewatching Bridgerton, and then I found myself on YouTube watching like history documentaries and ending up on like history TikTok. And little did I know, I'm like obsessed with history because it's basically just gossip.
Oh, yeah.
And so I thought, there was one story I saw, there was one docuseries that I saw that reminded me a lot of a story that I have not been able to shut about in recent days, the Justin Baldoni versus Blake Lively case. And I was looking at some of our founding fathers and I was like, this is the original smear campaign. And so I would like to introduce you to a new segment I'm calling Ye Olde Gossip. So Thomas Jefferson and John Adams, they were the real White Housewives of Philadelphia back in the day. The year, it's 17-something.
And this is history. This is all real.
This is all history.
Okay, this is all history.
I'm going to give it to you like it's the tea, but this is all stuff that happened. This is what the Google said happened.
Okay.
Well, I mean, that's how they spilt the tea originally.
They literally did back in Boston. Good history. So the year is 1776, and Thomas Jefferson, we're going to call him TJ, and John Adams, Johnny Boy, they're a part of the founding fathers, and they are besties. They're achieving liberty together. They're signing the Declaration of Independence together. They're hanging out at the pub, hitting on wenches together. They are bros for life. And so after doing all that, they get a little bit older. In 1796, they both run for president. A little contentious because, you're going up against your bestie. That's your homeboy. You don't really want to, tear him down, but you want to win. You want to win the presidency so you go down in American history. So back in those days, the candidate that won, that got the most votes, became the president, and then the runner-up became VP. So it's kind of cool. They're like, listen, bro, we're going to run. Either way, we're both ending up in D.C.
Which is crazy if you think about, because as you're running against each other, you think attack ads are bad now.
Yeah.
They were attacking each other like that back in the day, too.
So bring this to today.
Yes!
Okay, that makes it a Trump-Harris White House.
Yes. I love it.
Yeah.
Think of the balance.
I don't hate the idea. America does.
No, she does.
And so does she. She would turn it down.
I need 24/7 cameras on them at all times. Think of the reality show we would get out of it.
The Big Brother White House.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. That would be amazing.
We need the Big Brother White House.
So it's funny that you should bring up the different parties because TJ and Johnny Boy were a part of different political parties. So they ran the country together for 4 years, and their political feud honestly would sound a lot like the kinds that we are having today because one was a Federalist and the other was a Democratic Republican. None of them really translate to what we have today, but what you need to know is that John Adams is a Federalist and TJ is a Democratic Republican. And Federalists, which is what John Adams was, were really buddy-buddy with Britain. They're like, that accent, pretty sick. We need to keep around with them. I know they be eating beans on toast and voluntarily listening to Oasis, but like they're a global superpower. They're like our original founding fathers. We need to be around them. But they were also kind of elitist. Like they believed that you needed to make a certain amount of money to vote. And they also believed in policies that made immigration harder. So they're like, we're going to build a wall so big that we can't see any of these poor people. And we're keeping all the uglies and losers out of our country. And then we had the anti-federalists, which is what Thomas Jefferson was. TJ, our boy TJ. So he is basically just opposing all of that. He believed in more of a decentralized government. They wanted more power to the states. So this is when the smear campaign happens because now it's the election of 1800 and TJ's like, I hated everything we just did. I want to be in power. This guy's a loser and I'm going to make sure that everybody in the press knows that I'm actually the right candidate for the election of 1800. So TJ was like, Adams, he's kind of cuckoo. He's a little crazy. He's a little mentally unstable. He has fits of rage. And then John Adams was like, okay, well, maybe I'm crazy, but you're a coward. Do you remember the Revolutionary War where you fled Monticello because the British troops were coming after us? Loser. And so it starts off kind of harmless. And then things go from gossip to crazy real quick. Because then Thomas Jefferson's allies are like, he's a hermaphrodite. Not only is he crazy, but he also has boy parts and he also has girl parts.
No way, really?
Yes. So things are getting really below the belt here in the smear campaign.
Seriously.
Literally below the belt. So one of his allies said that he was had hideous hermaphroditical character, which kind of sounds like a podcast where someone's like, bro's not alpha. We don't need a beta running this country. This is America. We can't be having people with boy parts and girl parts running this country.
The attack ads were like insane back then.
So then John Adams, our little Johnny boy here, is like, you know what's worse than having a pee-pee and a wee-wee? Slavery. You know what's worse than slavery? Banging one of your slaves. And that's when the Sally Hemings affair came to light. So the Federalist newspapers came out that started hinting that TJ was getting it on with the baddie down the plantation and said that they were having an affair and that she fathered some of his children. And so after all that happened, guess who won the election? TJ. TJ, we know history. And so that happens. Years go by and they eventually reconcile. They're like, you know what? We really need to put this past feud to bed. And they started writing heartfelt letters to each other.
What?
So you can imagine they'd be like, dear bro, I'm sorry. I told America that you were dead so that they wouldn't vote for you. And then TJ would be like, it's okay, bro. I'm sorry I told everyone you had a penis and a vagina. And then they kissed. No, I'm just kidding. That didn't happen. I rewrote that in there. And then they remained cordial until their deaths, until Adam's final words, because he had made like the original death hoax and told people that he was dead so that they wouldn't vote for him. His final words on his deathbed were, Jefferson lives! And then weirdly enough, that same day, Jefferson was not in fact living. He had died hours earlier. And what is even crazier, other than the fact that they died on the same day, they died 50 years after they signed the Declaration of Independence on July 4th, 1776. And if that is not the most American death you can think of, I don't know what is. So that is the story of the rise and fall of the bromance of TJ and Johnny Boy.
Well
We all learned something today.
I love it. Well done.
Thank you.
Good.
You know what you need to do is here's a suggestion. Darwin, right? And the dude that he was sailing around the world with hated each other so much that Darwin said, I can't take it anymore. You just let me off right here, right now. And that's where he landed in the Galapagos Islands. And history and evolution was completely changed after that. And it all was because they hated each other so much. And Darwin couldn't stand to be on that boat.
Coming up next week on Ye Olde Gossip.
The Bert Show.